correct one. So if you didn't take solid waste, then we probably want to have at least one session on solid waste and give you some study material. I'm not sure how much Charles spends on milk sanitation in a food protection class, but there have traditionally been lots of questions on milk, so we might want to bring Charles in and have him talk about milk sanitation. Okay? Now any questions? Well, since it's March. Okay, so that's basically, yeah.
I don't know if you're going to talk about this, but after, and I'm kind of confused about after we get if we pass RS, some people were talking about that you need to have a year of experience in that, or how does it work after you get your certification?
And once you have passed the exam and you have a diploma from an accredited program, you become an RS or an REHS. And by the way, you get to choose whether you want 4 letters after your name or you want 2 letters after your name. There has been some talk about making it entirely REHS, but there's some of us old dogs that sort of like the name sanitarian. We grew up with it. It's familiar. We know what it means.
Doesn't really matter, right? They're both the same thing.
Does it matter which one you choose? No.
Sure. So this will stick with you for how, like, the certification, you know, like, I guess I'm confused because there's like a brochure out that says once you pass, you have to do a year.
That's actually 2 years, and that is if you go through you have a bachelor's degree in an accredited university, that is by the Central States accrediting, that accredits the entire university. The University of Washington is accredited by who?
We're talking about regional accreditation? Or
No, we're talking about national or regional. It has to be some national or regional accreditation body.
For the
and we're accredited by somebody. If you look at the college catalog.
Yeah, it's the Northwest something.
Yeah, that's something like that. So, in other words, it can't be John Dunn's sleazy university. And the question is whether something like Kaplan University is fully accredited or not, something like that. So it can't be that. But if you go to one of those that is accredited but is not accredited by the National Environmental Science Protection Accreditation Council, then you must have 2 years of experience in order to be registered. If you go through a program that is accredited by the National Environmental Science Protection Accreditation Council, EHAC, then there's no experience requirement. Okay, that clear?
Yeah. Clear as mud since the acronym doesn't match the name of the accreditation. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you're saying it in a much more friendly audience than when I said it, which was before the council and said it doesn't make any sense. How can you do that? They said, well, we like all those words in it, but it's kind of cumbersome. It doesn't have a good acronym, and I got voted down.
How long will the certification last? Like when will
1 year.
Okay.
So you have to renew it every year. Oh yeah, and good point. Good question. Thank you. In order to keep your certification active, you have to have, I believe, 1 CEU of continuing education, professional continuing education each year. And so, as long as you get that, you don't have to take the exam again. But if you let it lapse, and then you want to reactivate your RS, then you got to take the exam all over again.
Does that translate to 1 hour? Like, what's a unit? Translated to actual hours?
It's usually 1 CEU is equal to 10 hours of contact receipt time.
They have online courses at NEHA, NEHA's website, and you can take.
Yes, and the National Center for Environmental Health is about to come up with almost 20 courses or modules that will be available too. And the State Environmental Health Association works hard in their annual conference so that the thing comes up, the total number of CEUs comes up to 1. So just by going to the state annual meeting, you can usually satisfy that requirement.
Get the money to go on a trip.
Mark?
I don't know if I missed this because I was late. When is the test?
Oh.
We haven't set it yet,
Okay.
but Andy's going to do, I think you're going to do
We are
a,
going to do a canvas poll, so we will give out several dates that you guys can vote the data. You can go take the exam.
I'm assuming it's after the quarter. It's mid-quarter because of the class.
yeah, now, the setting the date's going to be interesting, because if we wait until after June 12th, which when everybody will finish with classes, all the finals will be over, there are people who book their airfare to leave 2 minutes after their last final. And so we may not have everybody here. If we do it during finals week, since it's a 4-hour exam, now if we do it at the scheduled time for the final exam for 497, then there shouldn't be any other classes competing with that, because it's based on the time and the dates at which it's offered. But since it's a 4-hour exam rather than a 2-hour exam, if you had one before or after, and as I recall, the scheduled exam date was June 8th from 4:30 to 6:30. And which means we have the option of doing it from 4:30, no, it was 6:30 to 8:20. And so we could try to do it 2 hours before that, or we could go 2 hours afterward, which is at 10:45 if we include the 15 minutes. And considering that I'm usually in bed snoring by 8:30. No, it's not out of it. If that's the only one that will work for you, I'll do it. I won't like it, but I'll do it. And I may hold it against you for the rest of my life. But, no, it's, but that's one.
Everybody pick that time.
Yeah.
So
And
we
then-
will have to think about the dates, because we have the time limit, because it's going to take 4 hours, so we have to talk about the dates.
The other thing is that people also have other final exams on the 8th. How prepared, how rested are you actually going to be for it?
I think it's, I don't know, my opinion.
And this exam covers so many areas, so I'm sure people have to focus on other finals instead of just for this class, and so that
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's a bad idea to have it during final week.
Would you want to have it before
Who knows,
finals?
maybe-
The week
maybe no.
before?
I don't know, because I mean,
Yeah.
We don't have to make the
Every-
decision tonight, and we don't even have to make it until we're a couple weeks into the quarter.
well, I'm worried about that, because if you guys are actually gonna do the test the week of the final, if the poll,
Well-
counts that way, I won't be able to take that.
Well,